hold the paintbrush in our hand, and we get to determine the picture we put in the mind that we have.
And it doesn't matter how small you are, or how unintelligent you may seem to be, or how much you don't have. It is the thinking of the person that makes them see circumstances differently. The attitude, therefore, is the difference. People ask me, how am I doing? My answer is, I have no problems. The word problem is a human definition of an opportunity to grow. If you call it a problem, it's a negative. If you see it as an opportunity, it becomes a positive.
I'm going to describe in verses 4 through 7, I'm going to describe a fulfilled life. Now, Paul here in this little short paragraph says, let me describe to you what a fulfilled life looks like. 4 things in your notes. You ready? Number 1, a fulfilled life celebrates God. A person that is living a full life, their heart is full of celebration to God and who He is and what He's done. Number 2, a fulfilled life adds value to people. Number 3, a fulfilled life is one that has the ability to give God your concerns or your worries. In other words, you can take the stress that you have and you can. My mother's favorite verse was the verse out of Peter where it says, cast all of your anxieties on God because He cares for you. A fulfilled life, Paul says, is one that can take the worries and the anxieties and can cast them upon God. And number 4, a fulfilled life experiences God's wholeness, the wholeness of God. Now, he said, this is what a fulfilled life looks like. And then what I love about this passage, starting with verses 8 and 9, he talks to us about how to do this. He says basically to you and me, if you want to have a fulfilled life, you have to fill your mind correctly. Again, going to the passage in Ecclesiastes, wise thinking leads to good living, stupid thinking leads to bad living. Now, what is the Ecclesiastes writer saying? If you think right, things come out right. If you think wrong, things come out wrong. And Paul says if you want to have a fulfilled life, you've got to fill your mind correctly. And what I love about verses 8 and 9 is he literally is going to show us in a very simple, practical way how to do that.
Ephesians 3 verse 20, don't you laugh at the Bible. The verse said, now unto Him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above, far beyond all you can ever ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that worketh within you, to Him be glory. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. I remember sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I remember sleeping one time on a mat, and that sheet never kept the mosquitoes out. All around me was poverty, but we didn't know that because everybody was poor. The only way you know you're poor is when you meet a rich person. And every opportunity was around me to think negative. And I remember, my mother and father would tell us things to fix our belief system. They would say, you can do anything you want to do, son. And they said that when I was sleeping on the floor. It's your mind. They were working on my belief system. And then they taught us the Bible. Now, I don't know about you and your belief about the Bible, but the Bible made me what I am today, so don't you talk bad about the Bible. And if you don't believe in the Bible, that's okay. I'm doing just fine, believe me. And the Bible helped me become what I am. But it was that book that checked my thinking. How do you think? Write this down. Attitude is a product of belief.
Let's go to the passage. Summing it all up, friends, I'd say you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse. Put into practice what you've learned from me, what you heard and what you saw. Do that, and God, who makes everything work together, will work into your most excellent harmonies. When I was a kid, my parents paid me an allowance to read books. They selected the books, and every day we had to read 30 minutes a day. And one of the things that we read, one of the books we read, was a book by James Allen. And this book, As a Man Thinketh, had an incredible impact upon my life. And here's a statement from the book. The greatest discovery in my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude. Wow. That your life can be changed. My life can be changed if we just change our attitude. The most important real estate, the most important real estate in life is 6 inches between the ears. How we think.
No one can live beyond the limits of their belief. So if you want to live beyond what you're living now, you have to change your belief system. When you have the discovery of a new belief system, your life is what you think it should be. That's exactly what you are right now. You are what you thought you should be. And if you don't like who you are, you got to change what you think you should be. The secret to anyone rising is what happens in their belief system. No amount of training or management methods or titles, no amount of promotion or associations with rich people or smart people can ever substitute for the right attitude. You got to first change your perception of who you are. And that starts with a belief system. Secondly, you must change your perception of why you think you exist. And number 3, your sense of significance. Once you discover, no matter where you are right now, it doesn't matter. I don't care what situation you're in now, where you're working, or what situation you're in, your perception of who you are, you've got to change it. And most of our perceptions are other people's concepts of us, and therefore we don't have self-concept, we got other concept. What is your perception of who you are? And the second one, why do you think you exist? You got to discover that you were born for something, some reason. There's some purpose for your life. If you don't discover that, you'll always have a job, and we'll bury you in an average grave with an average tombstone. And so they always tell you, go to school, get an education so you can get a job. In other words, we've all been taught to be employed, not deployed. They never say stay in school so you can own a business. They don't even think that way. It doesn't even cross. Your parents don't even think that way. And so you follow the convention of the community. Discover that you are important to the human race. You are important to the world. You are important to your universe. When I had to grapple with that question, it was tough. Because I've been taught by society, like you have, that you are just a social security number or some NIB number, or you're some just kind of a worker in the system. But that's not true. You were born to do something very significant in the world. And you have to get to the point where you believe that.
I'm going to teach you biblically what it's like to have a great attitude. Are you ready? He said people with a great attitude possess, first of all, a teachable spirit. They're teachable, they're approachable. Look at verse 9. Put into practice what you've learned from me, what you've heard, what you saw, what you realized. Teachability requires repeated, long, hard looks in the mirror. In other words, when we're teachable, we're willing to look hard in the mirror and see us. Teachability allows God and others to speak into our lives. That's what a teachable spirit is. And Paul says, if you want to have the right attitude, let others come and speak into your life. Let me speak into your life. And all Paul is saying is, in this area of attitude, when we want to fix somebody else, it's normally the fact that we need to be fixed. The faults of others are the faults we have ourselves. And we see others not as they are, we see others as we are. And Paul says, if you really want to have a great attitude, have a teachable spirit. Number 2, he says, take responsibility for your attitude. He said, I want you to take responsibility for the attitude that you have. You chose it. Be responsible for it. And he shows us in verses 8 and 9, he shows us how to be responsible for our attitude. He says 3 things. He says, fill your mind on good things. So he says, okay, to take responsibility for your attitude, put good stuff in. You can't put bad stuff in and have good stuff come out. So he said, first responsibility is select what you put in your mind. Then secondly, he says, when you put good stuff in, the second way you fix your attitude is meditate on that good stuff. Meditate on good things in verse 8. And he says, you not only meditate on good things, but practice good things. In other words, not only let it go through your mind, but let it get into your actions. And he says, take responsibility for the attitude you have. And if you do those three things, if you put good things in your mind, if you meditate on those good things, and then if you practice those good things, the Apostle Paul says, now you are taking responsibility for your attitude. Think about it now. What would happen to you today? What would happen to me today if we'd say, okay, I'm going to be responsible for the mind, for my attitude, and I'm going to do those three things. I'm going to fill my mind with good stuff. I'm going to meditate on that good stuff, and I'm going to practice that good stuff.
You can have potential, but if you don't have the belief, your potential becomes a victim of your present belief. I am giving you my secret to life right here. Belief is so powerful, it can make an elephant act like a sheep in the presence of a lion. You know, normally people who are insecure, whenever they meet somebody who is confident, they always call the confident arrogant. When you discover who you are, you can't help but be confident. I don't pretend, I don't try to have confidence. If you try, that means you ain't got it. You're faking it. Confidence is a product of belief. What you believe about yourself determines the way you think about yourself, and the way you think about yourself is the way you behave. And you behave bold and confident and fearless because there's some things you discovered about you and about life that makes life change a perception. First of all, your attitude got to be right. Then you must marry that to attributes. That means gifts you were born with. Then you got to marry that to aptitude. That means now you got to educate and train those gifts. That's why you read and study and go to school, for your aptitude to be increased. And then your altitude means you got to change the level of associations you are in. You know, it's amazing. When you change your aptitude, you normally want to change your altitude. So here's a thought to take back to work with you. If you keep running into pigeons and ducks and tobacco doves, you are flying too low. No one is responsible for your life except you. I had to take charge of my life as a teenager, and at age 13 I discovered who I was. I became a problem to the whole family. My mom used to say to me, she'd say, you are a different boy, you are a different child. But something happened to me at age 13. I discovered myself. Different was simply meaning you don't think like the rest of the kids. That's all it means. And remember, thinking is belief system being exposed. And therefore I married my attitude and my attributes, and my aptitude changed, and I began to study for a different reason. And suddenly my altitude changed. I started attracting different types of friends.
Most of the baloney we have in life, we packed in our own pail. Somebody else didn't slip it in on us. Somebody else isn't doing a little sneakaroo. We did it. Paul says people with a great attitude possess a teachable spirit, which means they look in the mirror, they take correction, they take responsibility for their attitude. We already fill your minds, meditate, practice, okay? Number 3, they travel the high road. They travel the high road of life. You see, God chooses what we go through, but we choose how we go through it. And the Apostle Paul in verse 8 does a phenomenal job teaching high road. Look what he says. Fill your minds and meditate on what? The best. That's high road. Not the worst, that's low. The beautiful, that's high. Not the ugly, that's low. Things to praise, that's high. Not things to curse, that's low. In other words, he says, choose to think and choose to meditate and choose to practice the best things in life. There are sins in life that'll keep you outside the house. And those sins are the sins of the spirit and the flesh.
It is your belief system which controls your behavior.
Two people can be going through the very same situation. One has a good attitude, one has a bad attitude. Two people can be going through a very difficult situation, and one sees faith and stays encouraged and strong, and the other one grabs hold of fear and embraces it until pretty soon they begin to shrink away from life itself. Now, Paul says travel the high road, and there are 3 roads to travel in your notes. The low road, and that's where we treat people worse than they treat us. The middle road, where we treat people the same as they treat us. And the high road, where we treat people better than they treat us. Wow. Number 4, understand the value. W. Clement Stone said there's little difference in people, but that little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it's positive or whether it's negative. And Paul understood the value of a good attitude. Look what he says. He said, when you fill your mind and meditate and practice good thinking, the result is God, who makes everything work together, will work you into his most excellent harmonies.
You know, a seed can be placed on a windowsill in your tiled bathroom and stay there for 50 years and the tree never come out, even though the seed has a tree. You know, trees are not in the soil. They are trapped in a seed. It is a victim of the environment. If you can just get that seed off that windowsill and put it in soil with a little bit of water, here comes the future. That's the way life is. You are no different from a seed. And every one of you that walked through that door today is a seed that was sent to the planet to produce a tree to serve the world your fruit. That's why you were born. There are some folks in your life right now who are very toxic. They will pollute your seed. You'll never come out. Have you noticed that people who ain't going nowhere want you to go with them? Folks who ain't doing nothing in life want you to do it with them. This is why you got to break away from your best friend sometime to become better. You outgrow people, so know when to leave. So coming to a summit like this and sitting among people like this is fertilizer. This whole week is a seed bed. It's soil for you to put yourself in. Matter of fact, when you leave here, imagine you got to prepare yourself. You got to go back to those rocky people in your job. Rocks. I say rocks. Even the music you listen to, got to be careful. It can be poison to your germination of your seed. The next time someone says they want to get to know you, ask them, are you fertilizer or rock? Your ability, you never receive it, you came with it. But your ability that you were born with is trapped by the mentality that they gave you from your culture. This is why to be great, you got to divorce yourself from your traditions and your culture. Because convention makes no room for creativity. It doesn't allow you to believe beyond the norm. Matter of fact, they want you to fit in, not stand out. The greatest revenge in life, they say, is success. It's not ability, it's mentality. And so if you want to change, you got to work on this attitude. The text says that when they went into the land to check out the land that was already theirs according to promise, they all came back, and 10 of them told Moses that the land they saw had big giants in them. And then they also told Moses that we were like grasshoppers in their eyes. Now, they never talked to the giants to find out if that's what giants thought about them. You are the way you see yourself. Do you think you're a grasshopper? You have to nurture yourself so that you can produce the right attitudes. And nurture means to feed yourself the right information. We are what we think, and we become what we continue to think. The social environment is just making you afraid to come out and take what's yours in life. To change your life, you must change your mind. Success keeps the right company. And deep inside of you is a person no one knows yet.
All right, we are ready to get started here. Welcome everyone that is in this live. Hope you guys, those that were here from the start of that video, this video is actually really good. Haven't heard this one in a while, but it's always good to have refreshers on certain videos, taking down notes. But actually, I want to discuss this before we get into the technical analysis portion. But one of the main things that I got out of it was more of like the attitude to change the way that you think. Because attitude really is a big portion of life. And I actually was fortunate to learn that early on, and actually somewhat memorized. I kind of forgot it now, but there was this quote by Church Swindle, I believe. It goes like, attitude, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It can make or break a church, a company, a home. And I forgot the rest. I blanked out, but something about playing on the one string we have, and that's our attitude. Let's see. Attitude, church. Let me see. It's this entire saying right here. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past. And wow, I really missed the whole thing. Than failures and success and what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a church, a company, a home. Remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we'll embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is plan on the one thing we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitude. So anyways, attitude is very important as far as like what the video was talking about, and changing mindset. And overall success has to do with your mind. It is what you think of most of the time. And you know, I've had times where I don't think the right way. And something that helps is actually doing these personal developments consistently. I do have some days where I miss it, but trying to get back into track. But usually the first 30 minutes from when you start your day, you want to be able to add some personal development into your day, instead of just waking up and going straight onto social media, which most people I found do. They go straight to social media. I do that sometimes myself, where I'll just go to social media, or I'll go check emails or something like that, or I'll just jump straight into my charts. But personally, like, I found that the best mindset will be if you start off with some personal development before anything. Anyways, that being said, let's get on to the technical Tuesday. Actually currently have a trade going right now, USD CAD for a sell, just going with the trend. Going with the trend, we see that price is getting into, or it reached that 5061.8, real big wick right here, reaction off that 200 MA. And overall on like bigger time frame here, it was going into an uptrend, did like this bigger head and shoulders breakout retest, so should continue to drop down. It's currently in the sell zone. This one kind of took some patience. I was waiting until like all the way over here. At this point, I was just waiting for it to go up, and it was just consolidating for a little bit. Finally reached that area, and now we are ready for a sell to pull the trigger. Anyways, let's actually get started here with putting a poll. See what the audience here wants me to analyze. Let's see. So you should be seeing, if you're inside the Zoom, those that are in YouTube, you can't see this. Should see that screen pop up. Just put a vote of which currency pairs you would like me to check out. See GJ right now. So far, two votes on that one. Let's see, 2 votes on GBP USD. I'll get to the poll pretty soon here. While you guys are voting there, I'm going to go ahead and see what we have for the Forex calendar. Someone posted on the chat saying, what about gold? So I don't really trade gold, and if it would kind of make sense for me to trade gold just because of like gold cars and all that stuff. But yeah, with gold, I do not trade gold. And the reason for that is because it just moves very, very different. Kind of, it's kind of similar to like regular currency pairs, but it's just the way that there could be like a huge spike just out of nowhere, and I wouldn't even see like a major news or anything. It just for some reason spikes. So I'm not sure what gold news there is out there that is affecting it. But anyways, so Wednesday we have a lot of high impact news. CAD, some more CAD at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard. So this is actually going to be happening at the New York session. Some CAD, some USD, CAD, USD, and then NZD at 1:45 p.m. Pacific Standard. So going to be looking during the day around this time for NZD. And yeah, usually midweeks is when we find these high impact folders. And for those that don't know what I use high impact folders for, it's mainly what it's telling me is that it's going to give high volatility to a certain currency pair. So with my technical analysis, I look at my technicals and see if I can predict before the news happens, if like I can get in for a sell or a buy based off of a breakout and predictions. So NZD, USD, and actually I set a personal goal this week to hit 10%, and I believe I'm around 1 point something percent right now increase. Actually, let me check. Yeah, it's like 1 point something. But okay, so let's get started. Let's actually look at the poll first. Ending the poll. So we have GBP USD in first, UJ. So GBP USD and GBP JPY. Actually look at GBP USD just because of the high impacts that are happening on the USD. And actually before this, I do want to look at the DXY, the dollar index, just to see what's happening. I was already looking at this prior, but let's look at it together. So overall prices consolidating. It broke out of this area, pulling back up. There's this big area here where price might be rising to before it completely drops, at least touching it a little bit. But we'll see how that reacts. And if it does react that way, we should be expecting for the dollar to continue decreasing with time, just because of that like bigger triple top right there. But overall right now it is on an uptrend for the dollar, and it keeps hitting this area of support. So right now at the moment, dollar is rising. No signs of reversal just yet. So it is currently on this uptrend, and will most likely, we'll see what happens once it reaches this high right here, but it's most likely going higher to continue the trend. That being said, because predictions are for highs, for dollar increase, we're going to be looking at GBP USD. Going to erase everything. Top down analysis here. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know where I came up with the term top-down analysis, but it sounds nice. All right, so got my resistance area here. Overall, this is like, I don't want to put it all the way over here. I'm just going to put it right here. Looks like it broke out, came back as like support right there. I get this major zone. This bottom area here. Okay, zooming in and definitely see the reaction. I was getting it for sells when it was dropping. Now for this drop right here, so it looks like it pretty much hit that distance of this head and shoulders up here drop, right at that 200, basically right there. So this is not considered the retest. Usually for retest, it would stop about halfway and then come back up. If anything, this middle point right here is the retest. So let's continue to see. Okay, so just looking at the current price action here, I can see price is just looking at this right here. So these highs, we can see that we do have a lower high right there, but it's not that strong of a lower high. If I did my fibs, it's definitely in like the 88.6 area. So yeah, 88.6. So it's not a strong downtrend. So potentially we can be expecting for this to reverse. And by the way, welcome those that are just joining in. You guys probably received like an email or something. So we can see that it dropped down, and actually it looks like it was around this area here, and it's wicking upwards. So let's just zoom in, see if we can spot a reversal pattern. 4 hour is showing it's in a downtrend. So if you saw what I just did right there, I'm looking at the bigger time frame and then I'm zooming in. I have an idea in my head what the bigger time frame looks like on this area here. We know that right now it's on a temporary downtrend, but potentially reversal in this area right here. Now there is that bigger zone that can push the price down, which it did, but usually so it touched it, but there is still a chance that it's going to go back into that area and maybe do like a bigger reversal pattern before it does like its bigger thing. Like over here, this was a bigger reversal pattern. Like you see like that triple top neckline right there. So that's the bigger reversal pattern, and it dropped pretty big in that zone. So here we don't really see anything just yet, but it might even do something like this, or it'll be like a bigger reversal pattern into the downtrend. We will see. For now, let's zoom in and see if we can find out. This can give us a trade. So do you see divergence here? Did give the double bottom. Way I would do that. Neckline here. So it's still on its way up. Just from what I see here, it looks like it's not breaking above this previous one, this previous high. So it is going to most likely drop back down into this pivot point, or maybe even a little lower into this neckline area, but somewhere around this area. And then I'll be looking to buy this towards the upside. Now let's see if I can spot out like a good entry, because just this alone is not good enough to buy. Okay, so start by doing my fibs here. So it did hit a good zone, 50, 61.8. It is still within this downtrend resistance. So GBP USD dollar increase. So more than likely, this is going to continue dropping down. Disregard this. So it's rising right now for a little bit. And it's most likely going to hit this R1 before it drops down. Okay. Normally I don't go down to the 5, but I just want to see what's happening here real quick. It's right in the middle of the pivot point. So I would definitely wait on this for now. There could be like a quick sell trade if you were to get in like right here. This is more scalping there. Stop loss around 80. So entry 70, profit. It's going to be around 100. Do the exact amount there. Yeah. So this is what it would look like. If it does do its breakout, it's most likely going to hit here for sure. But I can see it overall going up to here. So this is more of like if you're just scalping real quick, but I'm going to be looking more for here. So staying patient, waiting for something to present itself in this area first before getting in on a longer sell right there. So I do want to go in with the trend. I don't really want to go against the trend. Yeah, technically this would be going with the trend. It's just not in the right area for like the bigger downtrend. Okay, let's see some of the questions here. And by the way, if anyone has questions, put it in the chat area. And I see some people are messaging to host and panelists. So just put like to everyone so everyone can see the messages there. Okay, so any questions with the GBP USD or none at all? And looking at this, I might actually get in for a short sell right now on GBP USD. One second, everyone. It's a 8-pip move. Almost done here. If you do decide to get in, just know that there's a high chance it'll hit. But if it doesn't, guess what? We got the next trade. 3, 4, 9. So I do see the reaction right there off that support, but yeah, I'm just gonna let it do its pending and do its thing. Okay, so let's look at what questions we have here. Off that sale, are you playing off the H4 lower high? So this one is not based off the H4 lower high. So it's based off of this wick right here, where sellers are pushing the market down. If you know about like certain candlestick patterns, this one's a shooting star right there. So it is giving like a good sign to sell. But on the smaller time frame, I do want to wait for like a certain breakout first before getting in on any sell. It's also doing like that shooting star right where resistance is at. So it's not breaking through that resistance and gave a smaller time frame head and shoulders down to this area. So that's kind of my reasoning there. And then I can also notice the divergence here on the double top. Now, just because this is a trade doesn't mean it's like 100% guaranteed it's going to hit. It's never 100% guaranteed. Well, actually, there kind of is something, but it's more of like a news reaction that I'm going to be discussing in a topic later on. Not in this session, but it'll be a topic later on. It kind of takes a while to discuss all that entire topic. But it has to do with the GBP. Do potential wearing sessions between, hold on, am I reading this wrong? Do potential warring sessions between Ukraine and US involved through NATO affect certain trading currencies between GBP? Shoot. Mark Dimaj? Your last name sounds familiar, Mark. But I'm not too sure what you mean by NATO. Is NATO a specific? Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure about your question there. What's your take on how Russia tension is affecting the markets? Okay, so wow, both of you guys are talking about Russia. I'm guessing both looking at news. I usually don't look at news. I mainly look, like I don't look at the main the news fundamental, like looking at CNN or anything like that, or Bloomberg. Like sometimes I'll play it in the background just to get in that like trading zone, but I mainly look at what high impact is happening with here on Forex Factor. But yeah, if it's between GBP USD, good question. If anyone knows, let us know in the chat. In your analysis, I noticed that it looks like a short sell real quick before it will go climbing according to the trends you were marking. Glad to see them. So you're saying, yeah. So it is a short sell. Well, overall, the trend is expected to go down. So I'll go back to it. Overall, it's expected to drop down, but like market doesn't always go straight up into this area. Like there'll be its pullback. So by the time we wait for this to go all the way up here, it might be tomorrow. It might be Thursday. Sometimes it won't even go all the way up here. So it's just something where as long as you're getting in with a sell, because the trend is overall dropping, temporary uptrend, but doesn't mean it can't just stop and drop down. Like I've seen that happen many times where it'll stop before it hits this area and then just drops. So it's missed opportunities, but doesn't mean I'm getting in because of FOMO. It's just like a real quick trade. I'm not entering in on this trade to try to catch all the way down here. Okay, so Mason, you said the bigger move. Yeah, so this one would be the bigger move. They're asking about Russia because they are about to invade Ukraine. Sheesh. Well, I feel like I'm living on the edge of the earth, on the earth. I don't know if that's a saying. I've never really said that. But I didn't know that that was happening. Invasion. Sounds crazy. Sounds crazy, but it's not like we haven't experienced crazy stuff in the news. Right? There was a whole like during 2021, it was like super crazy. It was literally like a movie. Like I felt like I was in one of those documentary movies during like the Black Lives Matters, and all the storefronts like blockaded out, and it was like so crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that that stuff's happening. There was some other stuff in like in Palestine and Israel, and just yeah, there's lots of crazy stuff. Like, can't people just live in peace? Like, just chill. But anyways, I'll have to look more into that. But I would say it does have some effect. I just don't know exactly what effect it would have. It really depends if it affects like their banking system, or just like people not pumping pumping currency there. Use abbreviation, and it's probably confusing. I was just curious if the breakdown in trends in the news is going to influence the currency strength. So news usually finds its way to influence the currency. Even if it has nothing to really do about the currency, it'll somehow just influence it. Biden making lots of threats, which to me means lots. So you guys want to know something about news? I try to stay as far away from news as possible. And things will come my way, like when real big things happen, like how this Russia invasion stuff, like it somehow finds its way to me. Like I don't even have to watch the news and kind of live in fear or stuff like that. It's always on social media or something. But anyways, so you know what I really want to happen? I really want this whole COVID thing to just chill. This whole masks and everything is just insane. I remember, and I was actually speaking to someone earlier today about the whole COVID thing, and in 2020, when it happened and market crashes and all that stuff, I literally thought it was just going to be like a what's the reverse thing of it, like a pump and dump type of thing, but not. It was like dump and pump, I guess backwards, because it did dump, it tanked, and then it rose back up. So I really thought it was going to be for about 3 months, and this whole COVID thing was a lie. But then 2 years later, and people are still walking around with masks. I see people, and I find this the craziest thing ever. Can someone explain this to me? Someone like jogging down the street, getting their morning exercise, but they get their morning exercise with out in the open, and they wear their mask. Like, that just seems insane to me. There's no people around them, first off. My trade activated right now, by the way. GBP USD. It's my phone. I placed this one on my phone. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're trying to suffocate or do that. There's like this one workout mask that's meant to like make you suffocate to work out your lungs or something. Maybe it's for like blood pumping. That's what I think the purpose is. But who knows? Maybe I should stop him and ask him. Okay, let me read some of these. My take is sell Euro USD and AUD USD if Russia tension increase, and buy USD JPY and USD CHF if Russia tension goes away. Euro USD. So basically what you're saying is a USD, if tension increases, then USD will decrease. Decrease in value. I have to look into how the Russian market really affects it that way. Or that specific news. Okay, we'll have to get into the analysis here real soon. Wearing a mask in the sauna, that is stupid, crazy, mind blowing. Yeah. Elevation training mask. Oh, it's an elevation training mask to stimulate high elevation. High distance runners use them a lot. Cool. Okay, so back to this. Where are we here? Oh, should I just open up the Q&A? What time frame controls the market? There's not necessarily a time frame that controls the market, but just know that institutional traders are mainly looking at the daily time frame and up. So it's a good idea to know what's happening on the bigger time frame overall, and then smaller time frame are more for like retail traders. I'm technically considered retail traders, so it's not a bad thing to know exactly like retail strategy, but also look into institutional strategies or the time frames that they're looking at. So which time frame controls the market? Oh, you said twice. Okay, so let's get back to it. So if GBP USD is decreasing, Euro USD should be decreasing. Actually have this same thing with Euro USD and GBP USD. I think it's going to rise into this area. Excuse me, this area here before it decreases, but it looks like there's a decrease right here, and I actually noticed divergence right here. Prices overbought. Price is overbought. Price is reversing. Price is showing it's going in a downtrend. You know, smaller time frame, but nothing too major. So it might even come down into here, and then towards the New York session, or sorry, the London session, I think that's when it will stop somewhere around here to then continue towards the upside. And it makes sense during the London session for the euro to increase. But keep in mind this, so we have Euro USD, right? We have GBP USD. Both of these have the USD in the back of the currency, the currency pair. So Euro and then USD. So because USD is in the back, this means that GBP USD and Euro USD kind of move together. And you can see this. If I go to the 1 hour time frame, we can see big drop and then downtrend. It's kind of like a weak downtrend. I think it's going to start its reversal, but big drop and then going like that. If I look at GBP USD, big drop, and then just kind of like going into this downtrend. Not exactly like Euro USD, but overall like the direction and how things are showing is very similar to GBP USD. If I look at any other currency pair with the USD at the end, like let me get a AUD USD. So it should be on a downtrend if I look at AUD USD. See, drop, came back up, but still on this downtrend. And showing the same thing here like all the other ones. where it's like going upwards temporarily. Even with AUD USD, I can see right here that it's looking to make its retracement back up into this area. It did touch here, but I think it's going to touch up to this R1 area before it reverses, and I'll trap the price here. This one looks like a good pending trade. I was actually waiting for this one earlier, but it did break its uptrend here. So anyways, back to the USD thing. Anything with the USD should kind of show the same thing. NZD USD should also be showing downtrend, because it's really based off the USD. USD has 80% of the market's volatility. It's something to remember. So now USD JPY or USD CAD should be going in an uptrend. Let's see. So that one is not accurate. And that's because of the JPY. So that's USD CAD is going in a downtrend. This is strange. One sec. These were going in an uptrend, then breaking out. These were interesting. Well, for the most part, USD, where I'm getting at here, USD is whichever direction it's at. If it's in the front or the back of the currency, it's usually has some either correlation where they move together or they don't move together. Okay, let's look at real quick here, and we'll actually be on here for like another 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes? Yeah, 15 minutes, because we started at 7:30. By the way, I try staying disciplined to this whole like staying at exactly an hour, just because it is I've had some sessions where it takes like 2 hours or like 2.5 hours. That is a whole lot of session. I'd rather like just get straight to the point. So GBP JPY, this is my overall analysis for this. It was consolidating, basically going into this downtrend, but consolidating here, broke out. It's coming back up. I think it's going to come up to this area here. So it is temporarily on an uptrend into this area here and then dropping down. Johannes asked to host some panelists, so not to everyone, but yes, if this will be uploaded on YouTube. Yes, so it is live on YouTube right now, and after this, it just stays on YouTube. The raw version, no editing at all. Okay, so with GBP JPY, price is expected to increase into this area before the actual decrease. And actually, let me get my Fibonacci here. So it's looking to go into around the 38.2 area. And this is actually common, especially when it was going on a slight downtrend. Like it was not a strong downtrend here, and then it goes into a strong downtrend. When it goes into a strong downtrend, usually when it comes back up, it will hit that 38.2 and then continue that strong downtrend. So that's why I think this one is going to be pretty accurate. Also, by the time it reaches up there, this 200 moving average would also like pretty much meet up with it, like that, this purple line. So it hit like resistance coming all the way back down. But yeah, I'll be on the lookout for that one there. Let's see what else we have here. GUJ. I'm trying to skim through UJ, but let me erase everything. I was actually going through this earlier. Just take everything off real quick. This one. Okay. So monthly, just real quick, and you'll see, we'll time this right now. It shows 8:17. We're about to do top-down analysis. See how fast. Okay. By the way, pretty stoked about the metaverse when it comes out. I actually had an Oculus previously and had the computer stuff on there. I actually returned it because I feel like it was not developed too well. Like it was mainly for games, but I'm more looking for the productivity side when they do start rolling that stuff out. Okay. Consolidation. It's just choppy all over here. Let me just check something real quick. So definitely divergence. Divergence. Okay. This one's a hard one just because it's choppy, but it looks like it's about to break out. When it breaks out, it's most likely going to come up to this area here. Then it's going to drop down to this area here, and then maybe decide that it doesn't want to do its breakout because it is doing higher. It's doing higher highs overall. Even though if we see on the bigger time frame that there's like a potential reversal, just because it's not really a strong uptrend. Because all these lows right here, it just did like a regular low, but it did higher highs up here. Now, because it's rejecting off this low area right here, this might be the higher low for then like a really strong uptrend, kind of like the reverse thing that we were noticing on GBP USD. Let me actually pull that up here. Was it GBP USD or Euro USD? Yeah, so I think it's kind of like here, where it's like, no, I'm trying to shoot. I forgot which one. USD CAD. ADST. Anyways, so overall, it's not so much of a strong uptrend. We might see that breakout happen into like a stronger uptrend. Where was that 38.2? I did that 38.2 somewhere. Is it here? No. See if someone knows in the chat. It's not here. Just ADST. Is that smaller time frame? Let me just check this out. Or maybe it didn't load up to here. Oh, I think you're right there. Anyways, so USD JPY, not so strong of an uptrend, but it's still technically going into an uptrend. We have this major low right here, and then this is the next major low area here. So I'm going to do my fibs real quick from this low to this high. Didn't hit into the 78.6, which I like. 50, 61.8. Now, technically, this is a double bottom here, but let's see if there was any Oh, it is at this major support area on this bigger time frame, so that's good. Yeah, it's just the part that concerns me are these highs. These highs here on the uptrend, it didn't really go into a downtrend into the support area. Like a small little downtrend here, but the previous low is over here. So I will be looking to buy this one. Good risk to reward, long 50. I would have preferred an inverted head and shoulders right here too, just because of where the stop loss is at. So I'm going to decrease this a bit more. Let me look at entry. So we'll do 500, 1700 TP, 1200 SL. So it's still bigger profits than a loss right here. And then the second one can aim for that negative 27%, just because I could see it hitting up here if it passes above the 100%, because it'll most likely meet up with this resistance right there. So let me put this out here. 15. $17. Oh. Okay. Now throughout this process, it might come up and then back down to about here. So we do have the stop loss in a good area where it can get protected by this uptrend support right here. Doesn't mean it won't break, but there's a good chance that it will come up and then maybe not even come all the way down here. Like sometimes, like this might be the double bottom. So really the breakout for that double bottom is right there. I guess just seeing what type of reaction happens around this area right here, this previous high. If it does react to push back down, then I would get out and maybe look for an entry when it comes down into this area, but at least I would get out in some profit there. I think that's like 500, it's like 200 micropips, 300, some sort. So going to be looking for this one on a buy. So UJ buy. GPJPY increase into this area. All right, so that's pretty much it for tonight, unless there's some charts you guys want me to check last minute here. That one actually took a while, actually. Yeah, usually it takes like around 5 minutes, but that one would take around 10 minutes. That took a while. Okay, so CAD JPY rising wedge. Yeah, this one's one where I think it's going to be dropping overall. And if you haven't gotten in just yet, could place a pending order. Pending order right here if you want. And you can aim for this target here. So this distance, drop. To be safe, I would take profit right there, right at this previous low. Stop loss right there, good risk to reward. We're set. Upside. Yeah, I would aim more for a sell on this one than a buy. If it was to go towards the upside, it would only be a little bit, and there's a lot more risk to this just because there's lots of areas of resistance. I can see like overall the direction is looking to go downward. Okay, someone said EDJPY. Let's check this one out real quick. And 4-hour time frame is a good time frame just to look at like where the overall direction is going. So right now it's coming back up. It looks like it's doing about the same thing, upwards into this area and then dropping back down. So that's a good area to look for sales around that 5061.8. This one also is showing signs of like that kind of inverted head and shoulders right here. But to aim for all the way up here, there's kind of more risk because it's overall in a downtrend. So I'm going to be looking more in this area right here to sell. Okay, so yeah, the CAD news, definitely going to be looking at that. Yeah, thank you all for being in this analysis. Hope you maybe learned something from this, and we will be back at it again next week on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're there, you might make some money with us. And real quick, let's check out GBP USD. Looks like there was some reaction. Wicked area right there. Still in this trade, but we'll see how this one plays out. Didn't play out for this this live, but inside of the group, the Ecofin chat, I'll be on there and sharing if it does hit its TP. All right, you guys have a good night. We'll speak to you guys later. Let's make some profits this week, aiming for that 10% goal. So let's see if this happens. We'll speak to you guys later. See ya.